You know, when most people think about The Alchemist, they remember it as this simple, really hopeful story. A story about following your dreams and how the universe itself will conspire to help you get there. But that comforting idea isn't really what the book is about. It's actually about something far more uncomfortable, the conspiracy we build against ourselves.
So right near the beginning of the story, an old king tells the shepherd boy, Santiago, that this very idea, the belief that we're powerless, that we're just pawns of fate, is the world's greatest lie. What the book is really arguing is that the main thing standing in our way isn't the world out there. It's the story we tell ourselves inside, the one that casts us as a victim of our own circumstances.
And that gets you thinking, doesn't it? What if the most dangerous lie isn't that fate controls us, but the lie we tell ourselves to justify not even starting the journey in the first place? The lie that says, you know what, this comfortable, predictable life is good enough. The one that says the dream is just too risky, or too far away, or maybe it just wasn't meant for you.
This really gets to the heart of the true conflict in The Alchemist. It's not about a boy versus the desert. It's the internal fight between that call to adventure, what the book calls our personal legend, and the incredible, powerful pull of a life that we already know.
I mean, think about Santiago's world at the start. It's a life of almost perfect cyclical comfort. His sheep, they only care about food and water. The paths he walks are the same ones he walked yesterday. There's this deep, profound security in that kind of existence, and the story makes it really clear that walking away from that, well, that's not a small thing. That comfort is the very first, and maybe the greatest, enemy of his entire quest.
And the book doesn't wait long to show us characters who've already lost this fight. Take the baker. He had the exact same dream as Santiago. He wanted to travel, but he chose a respectable job, a house, the idea of a family. He basically let what other people might think of him become more valuable than his own inner purpose. He buried his legend under a mountain of social expectations.
Then we get a much more complex version of this with the crystal merchant. Now, he's not trapped by what other people think. He's trapped by his own dream. For 30 years, the idea of going to Mecca is what's kept him going. It's given him a reason to get up and face the same boring day at his shop. But here's the thing. It's a dream he has absolutely no intention of ever fulfilling. Now, what the merchant says here, it's this really unsettling but deeply true thing about human nature. He's afraid of the emptiness that might come after he achieves his dream. The dream is more useful to him as an escape, as a fantasy, than it ever would be as an actual goal. It's this brilliant form of self-sabotage that keeps him safe. Safe from being disappointed, sure, but also safe from the terror of living a life that has no purpose left in it.
So you see the pattern, right? The baker gives up his dream for what other people think. The merchant gives up his for a feeling of inner security, using the dream itself as a shield to protect him from having to really live. Both of them find these very sophisticated, very believable reasons to stay exactly where they are.
And just so we don't think this is some kind of weakness that only other people have, the story makes a point of showing Santiago falling into the exact same trap. The very first time he faces a real challenge, getting robbed of everything he has, what's his first thought? To give up. To go back to what's familiar, back to the sheep, back to the life he just left. The pull of the known world is just relentless. So this brings us to the second big, kind of hidden argument in the story. The actual physical treasure buried near the pyramids, it's almost an afterthought. The book goes out of its way to downplay the destination because it's trying to make a much more important point. The real alchemy isn't about turning lead into gold. It's about the transformation of the person who's on the journey.
You probably remember this little parable the old king tells Santiago. A boy gets sent to the wisest man in the world to find out the secret to happiness. The wise man hands him a spoon with 2 drops of oil in it and says, "Go on, walk around my palace, but don't spill the oil."
So the first time, the boy just stares at the spoon and he misses all the beauty of the palace. The second time, he looks at all the marvels, but he spills the oil. And the meaning is so clear. The secret isn't just about experiencing all the wonders of the world, and it's not just about protecting your core purpose. It's about somehow, almost magically, learning to do both at the same time. It's about being engaged with the world around you without ever losing sight of who you are and what you came for. And the story shows us that this is the real treasure Santiago picks up along the way. Yeah, the money he earns is useful, but it's just a tool. The real rewards are the things he learns, the resilience he builds, the wisdom he gains. He learns a new language, he learns how to run a business, he learns how to read the subtle signs of the desert. He is literally transformed by the search itself.
The crystal merchant introduces this word, maktub. It is written.
And it's so easy to hear that and just think, oh, well, passive fate. Whatever happens, happens. But that's not really how the story uses it. It's more about active acceptance. It's this understanding that getting robbed or having to work in a shop for a year or crossing a vast desert, these aren't detours from your path. They are the path. Every single step, even the ones that feel like setbacks, is essential to becoming the person you're meant to be.
So if the treasure itself isn't the point, and the journey is everything, what does that mean for the book's big idea, the personal legend? This is where the story offers its most profound and maybe most misunderstood insight.
The way we usually hear it, your personal legend is this specific goal you have to achieve. It's a treasure you have to find, a company you have to build, a title you have to earn. But the book subtly argues against that. It's not some prize you get at the end.
Instead, the personal legend turns out to be a process. It's an action. It is the continuous, daily choice to pick the path of growth over the path of comfort. It's just a decision to keep moving forward into the unknown, even when you've lost everything, even when you're exhausted, and even when going home would be so much easier.
And in the end, that means the pyramids themselves are just a symbol. They are a point on the horizon, something powerful enough to pull Santiago out of his comfortable, predictable world and onto the path of transformation. The treasure could have been anywhere, really, because the real treasure was everything he had to become to find it. The destination exists only to give us a direction.
And so the book leaves us with this quiet, very personal challenge. It doesn't really ask what's your dream. It asks something much more piercing. It asks, what comfort are you clinging to? What beautiful, elegant excuse have you built for yourself? And what journey are you actively choosing not to take?